Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Everyday Insights. I'm Alex.
And I'm Emma. It is so good to be back behind the microphone with you guys.
We have a very exciting and slightly terrifying episode for you today. As our regular listeners know, we have been building quite a collection of embarrassment in our series, The Cringe Chronicles.
Honestly, Alex, looking back at our previous episodes, I think we are officially the most awkward people on the internet. I mean, look at our history. Way back in episode 3, I told the story of how I got hopelessly lost in the Tokyo subway and ended up crying in a karaoke booth.
That was a classic. But I think episode 4 was even more chaotic. Remember my story about the first date?
Oh, how could I forget? You didn't just have a bad date, Alex. You literally set the restaurant on fire.
I still smell the smoke when I close my eyes. I reached for the breadsticks, knocked over a candle, and 5 minutes later, fire trucks.
The listeners loved that one. And then, just yesterday in episode 6, we had your disaster with artificial intelligence. You sent a job application that started with, as an AI language model.
Okay, let's stop listing my failures. The point is, we are professional disasters. But today is your turn again, Emma.
Yes. And honestly, Alex, I think today I am going to take the crown. I have a story that beats the Tokyo trip and maybe even beats your restaurant fire.
Really? Worse than arson?
Maybe not legally worse, but socially, much worse. This story involves a wedding, a case of mistaken identity, and a very unfortunate glass of red wine.
Oh no. Weddings are high-stakes environments. I'm ready. Lay it on me.
All right. So let's go back to July of this year, 2025. You remember this summer, right? It was the Great Heat Wave. It was historically hot.
Oh yeah. It was like walking on the surface of the sun. You couldn't step outside without melting.
Exactly. So, in the middle of this heat wave, my friend Sarah from university was getting married. Sarah is, how can I describe her? She is a perfectionist. She had a vision board for this wedding for 5 years. The venue was the Grand Imperial Hotel downtown. It's that massive, historic building with the gold columns and the marble floors. Very fancy, very expensive.
I know the place. It screams luxury.
So the ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. But being me, I was having a wardrobe crisis. I had bought this new dress specifically for the event. You know how brat green was the color of 2024? Well, I decided to go for something equally bold for 2025. I chose a dress that was electric sunset orange.
Wow, that is a statement.
It was neon, Alex. I looked like a walking safety cone. But in my head, I thought, it's summer. It's festive. I look like a tropical drink. So I put on the dress, did my makeup, but because of the heat, I was already sweating. My hair was starting to frizz. I called a robo-taxi, but the app was glitching because everyone in the city was trying to get to the beach. Finally, a car arrived, but traffic was a nightmare.
Saturday traffic in the city is undefeated.
It was gridlock. I was sitting in the back, watching the time tick away. 3:50, 4, 4:15. I was texting Sarah, "So sorry, running late." But the messages weren't delivering. By the time the car pulled up to the Grand Imperial, it was 4:50 p.m.
So you missed the whole ceremony?
Everything. The vows, the rings, the kiss. I felt terrible. I was the worst friend in the world. But I told myself, okay, Emma, breathe. You can still save this. Just go to the reception, sneak in quietly, grab a glass of champagne, and pretend you were there the whole time.
Solid plan. Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. So I paid for the ride and sprinted into the lobby. Now the lobby was chaotic. There were tourists everywhere. I looked around frantically for a sign. I saw this digital display board near the elevators. It listed the events for the day. I saw wedding reception and an arrow pointing to ballroom B. I didn't even read the names. I just saw wedding and ballroom B, and I took off running.
Danger. You didn't check the names?
I was in panic mode, Alex. I just wanted to get out of the lobby. I ran down this long, carpeted hallway. My heels were clicking so loud. Clack, 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 echoing off the walls. I finally reached the double doors of Ballroom B. They were closed. I could hear music coming from inside. I stopped, took a deep breath, wiped the sweat from my forehead, fixed my neon orange dress, and pushed the doors open.
And?
And I walked in. The room was huge and very dimly lit. They had these mood lights on. Everything was purple and gold. There were candles on every table. It was very atmospheric, but it meant I couldn't see anything clearly. I stood there in the doorway, scanning the room for a familiar face. I was looking for Sarah or her fiancé Mike, but everyone was just a silhouette.
That is the worst feeling. Standing alone in a doorway.
It gets worse. The speeches were about to start. There was a man on stage tapping the microphone. I didn't want to be the center of attention, standing there like a lost lighthouse in my bright orange dress. So I saw a table right near the back, table 15. There was one empty chair.
Please tell me you didn't just sit with strangers.
I had to. I scuttled over there, doing that awkward half walk, half run. There was an older woman sitting next to the empty seat. She looked intense. She was wearing this very structural silver metallic dress, very futuristic, very high fashion. She had huge diamonds on. She looked like she owned the hotel. I whispered, "Is this seat taken?" She looked me up and down, frowned at my orange dress, and just said, "No."
Friendly.
Very. So I sat down. I poured myself a glass of water and drank it in one gulp. Then I started to look around at the decorations. Now, Sarah is very specific about style. She loves that clean girl aesthetic. Lots of white, beige, eucalyptus leaves, minimalist. But this room, it was wild. There were giant feathers everywhere, gold statues of lions, and hanging from the ceiling were these massive crystal chandeliers.
Maybe she changed her mind.
That's what I tried to tell myself. I thought maybe she went for a maximalist theme. I didn't get it. But I decided to be polite and make small talk with the scary lady in silver next to me.
Oh no, don't engage the scary lady.
I couldn't help it. Silence makes me nervous. I leaned over to her and whispered, "Phew, the heat out there is killer, isn't it? I thought I was going to melt before I got here." She just stared at me and gave a tiny nod. She didn't say a word. She just took a sip of her red wine.
Cold.
Freezing. But I kept talking. At that moment, the string quartet in the corner started playing a new song. I listened for a second. It wasn't classical music. It was a string version of a pop song. You know that song Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter?
Oh yeah, the hit from last summer. That's that me, espresso. It's everywhere.
Exactly. But imagine it played on violins. Very slow, very dramatic. It sounded ridiculous. And I thought, okay, this is my chance to bond with this scary lady over a joke. So I leaned in and whispered, "Is this Sabrina Carpenter on a cello?" It's a bit much, isn't it? I mean, I love the song, but for a wedding, it feels a little tacky. I expected Sarah to have better taste than a TikTok trend.
Emma, please stop. My heart rate is rising.
I didn't stop. I kept going. I said, "And these gold lions on the table? It's giving Vegas casino, not elegant wedding, right?"
You insulted the music and the decor?
I did. I thought we were going to laugh about it together. But she didn't laugh. She put her wine glass down on the table with a loud clink. She turned her whole body toward me. Her eyes were like lasers. She said, in a voice that cut through the air like a knife, "I specifically requested that song. It is my son's favorite, and I designed these centerpieces myself."
No, no way.
My blood turned to ice. I stopped breathing. I felt the color drain from my face. I stammered, Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it's very bold. It's a statement. I'm sure Sarah loves it."
You tried to fix it.
I tried. But then she looked confused. She narrowed her eyes and asked, "Who is Sarah?"
The moment of truth.
The world stopped spinning. I said, "Sarah? The bride? My friend from university?" The woman looked at me like I was insane. She pointed a manicured finger toward the stage where the happy couple was sitting. She said, "My dear, that is my son David and his new wife, Jessica."
You were at the wrong wedding.
I was at the wrong wedding. Sarah was in the grand ballroom on the second floor. I was in ballroom B, crashing a stranger's wedding, sitting at the mother of the groom's table and insulting her taste in music and decor.
That is catastrophic. So, did you run?
I wanted to. I wanted to vanish into thin air. But just as I started to stand up, the waiters arrived. They swarmed the table with big trays of hot soup. I was trapped. I couldn't leave without knocking over a waiter.
I can only imagine the tension.
It was thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally, the waiters moved. I knew this was my only chance. I stood up abruptly. I said, "I think I'm in the wrong place. Excuse me." But I was so flustered, I forgot that my purse strap was tangled around the armrest of the chair.
Oh no, the grand finale.
I stood up, the strap pulled the chair hit the table, and the table shook violently. And that full glass of red wine, the one the mother had just put down, it tipped over.
Please say it missed her.
It did not miss her. It splashed right onto her lap, all over that beautiful, futuristic silver dress. It looked like a crime scene. The red wine soaked into the silver fabric instantly. She gasped and stood up, screaming, "My dress!"
Oh my God, you ran away.
I ran for my life, Alex. I sprinted out of the ballroom, down the hall, past the confused staff, and I didn't stop until I found the elevator. I hit the button for the second floor and hid in the corner of the elevator, shaking.
Did you make it to the real wedding?
I did. I walked into the grand ballroom on the second floor. It was peaceful, white, minimalist, exactly like Sarah. I walked straight to the open bar, ordered a double tequila, and drank it in one go. Sarah saw me and said, "Emma, you're here! Why are you sweating so much? And why are you shaking?" I just hugged her and said, "I love your music. Don't ever change it."
Did you ever tell her?
I told her about 6 months later. We were having coffee and I finally confessed. She laughed so hard she almost fell off her chair. She actually knew the other family vaguely. Apparently, the crazy orange lady became a legend at that other wedding.
You are a legend, Emma. A legend for all the wrong reasons, but hey, it makes the restaurant fire story sound almost normal.
I know. I still have nightmares about silver dresses and violins. But hey, at least I learned a lesson.
Always read the sign.
Always read the sign. And never, ever criticize the playlist until you know who made it.
Words to live by. Well, Emma, thank you for sharing that. I feel much better about my own life now.
You are welcome. I suffer so you don't have to.
Listeners, that is our show for today. If you have ever walked into the wrong room or insulted someone by accident, please tell us in the comments. We need to know we aren't alone.
Yes, please share your pain. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and ring that bell. We have plenty more cringe stories coming your way in the future. Goodbye, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hello everyone, hope you enjoyed the story. Let's quickly review the best English from this episode to help you sound more natural.
1. Hyperbole, exaggeration. To make stories funny, don't use simple words. Emma didn't say it was hot. She said, it was like living inside a hairdryer. Try using creative comparisons in your speech. 2. Must-know vocabulary, gridlock, a traffic jam where nothing moves. To bolt, to run away suddenly because of fear. My blood turned to ice, a perfect idiom for that moment of sudden shock. 3. Modern slang. Emma used the phrase, it's giving, e.g., it's giving Vegas casino. This is very popular slang, meaning it has the vibe of, or it reminds me of, homework. Write a comment below using it's giving to describe your day. Thanks for listening to Everyday Insights. See you tomorrow.